Welcome, everybody. Once again, thank you for tuning in. This is the TD Markets Academy. I'm not running solo. I got Macaudi in the building with me as well.
Solo is, hey guys, like Ash said, we are always happy to be with you.
Yes.
And this is podcast episode 13.
It's 13?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not going to go back to that. Yeah, we're on 13. We're on 13.
In 13, yeah,
all right?
100%.
So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for making sure that you're always with us. Subscribe, send us comments, ask us questions. We are here to assist you. We are also, myself and T, not by ourselves. Yeah. We have the great Serge in the building, all the way from Zambia.
My man. Serge, welcome to the podcast, my man. It's been a long one coming. We spoke about this, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Just before the FMOS week, my man. But Serge is our guest on this podcast. How are you, my man?
Thank you so much. I'm very much fine, and thank you for having me on board.
Wonderful, man. Yeah. Thanks for giving us your time. You know, for me and T, I think I could say this, T, we are always privileged when we speak to
100%.
people, you know, and we feel very fortunate to chat to people in the industry and sometimes outside. You know, there might be other people out there that, because it's all about finance, it's all about, you know, trying to, you know, take that leverage and make it count for you. And we are really privileged and we're really honored to have you on our podcast here. All right? Yeah. All right.
Amazing.
Yeah, so let's get running right away. Serge, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the viewers know who you are, where you reign from, how you got started into trading. I think that's going to be a very important one just to get us out the blocks.
Wow. Thank you so much. I am Solomon Serge Maeshe. I am a Zambian, and I stay in Zambia and in Lusaka, the capital. So I think around 2017, while I was still at school, at university, I was doing business management. I asked myself, what would be of me if, God forbid, my parents are not there to support my studies? So in those lines, I knew that I had to do something, not just finding work, but something that is in line with business. But not only business, but the business that can help me use my brains, because the reason why I entered into a business school is because I like strategy, I like forecasting, I like the type of thinking forward, the competition, and that game of it. I was asking myself, what is this that I can do, that can still be in line with my passion? And that's how I had to research. And there's a certain moment where a friend of mine, who is called Moses, told me that there is something called Forex trading, and I ought to try it out. And by then, everyone is skeptical about online businesses, so I was very skeptical until I went on the internet and I saw Sandile Shezi, who is indeed a man who's inspired so many people. So when I saw that he was young and he was making money in the financial market, then I got, inspired. So that was late 2017. So from late 2017, I started learning about Forex, but it took me a while before I became profitable. And that was late 2019. Then from late 2017 to late 2019, I was still struggling here and there. Then after late, that's when my Forex career took off. And I'm not only a trader that has made a lot of money in the financial market, but I'm also a Forex mentor. Although in the beginning, I never wanted to become a mentor, but I was just posting my result and people were like, tell us how you make money. Then I was like, guys, I don't teach these things. But they were like, you are stingy. You don't want us to also make money the same way you do. So that's how I had to share. And before I knew it, I was also teaching people. And I have over 2,000 students that have learned systematically from me, systematically from A to Z about Forex. And they are all in the 5 continents. We have students in Africa, students in the USA, students in Europe, and even in countries I have difficulties in spelling. So far, that's pretty much that. And I'm very excited to be part of this Forex community and do excellent things.
Tell me, that word stingy there, they said you were stingy. Did that put pressure on you?
Yeah, so one that, you can show your results, but at the end, you see, Forex made me an extrovert. Naturally, I was an introvert.
You don't speak much. So you don't speak much. Well, look, we had the pleasure of meeting in Zambia. Yes, I can attest to that, you didn't say much. However, are you saying that your whole life you were actually not a big talker or not a big speaker and so forth?
Changed me, Forex changed me, because at the end, as a Forex mentor, you need to show that indeed it's working here. And there's something that you can't fake, is consistency. So the more consistent you are, the happier you are, the more you get to be open. So by the time they were saying I was stingy, simply because I wouldn't want to be there and talking to so many people. But at the end, I realized that, look, I need to help as many people as possible to be financially independent the same way I am, and the same way I was by then, and still am. But you see, for me to do that, I had to change from being an introvert to being an extrovert. So
where does that come from, though? That need to want to help people. Where does that come from? Like, because I don't know. I don't think everybody has that kind of urge, or if I can say burden, so to speak, because sometimes a burden becomes something that you put into motion, right? Mm-hmm. But like, where do you think that urge comes from to help people?
All right. So there are certain things that you can only understand if you've been there before. You see, there were moments where I was really dead broke, and I really wanted money, and I wish somebody would teach me how to make money. And people were not just there, you see. And sometimes if they have to teach you something, it was so hard you couldn't even manage to understand. Or it would take you 5 years for you to finish that same type of information. And then comes Forex trading. So the drive comes from the fact that I understand that sometimes you can be there as a student and you have the papers, but there is no job opportunity. You can be there as a person who is working, but it's just, a certain amount of money that can feed you for 1 month, and afterwards you are living paycheck per paycheck, and you do not see how to come out of that rat race. So once you understand, once you've been there before, you can indeed understand people, and you'd want to help them from a place of understanding. So I think that was the drive that allowed me, to wanting to help as many people as possible.
Gotcha. All right. And so around that time, you said you saw a certain individual who is based in South Africa, right? You saw him. So I assume you saw him on social media and so forth, right? Right. So at that time, were there any traders or popular traders in Zambia at the time?
At the time, Zambia, no, there was no popular trader. The one thing that I like with Zambia is that it's still, we can say it, a virgin market, in the fact that people are learning about Forex trading even up to now. And now at least we have big names, of which indeed we are among. Yeah. But then we didn't have any name, and we had to check on the internet. So on YouTube, that's when I saw a 3 years old millionaire through the financial market. So I saw him, and there were also other people. Then there was Ref Wayne that was doing great. There was also Jason Noah that was also doing great, I think, around that time. But it was more of Sandile and Ref Wayne. But one thing that I liked Sandile was the fact that he had that tact of professionalism. He really made Forex a bit more professional. Ref Wayne was making money, but it was that jumpy person. And I was not quite connecting with that side. Of course, indeed, I was happy for his success, but I was not connecting much with that side. But you see, Sandile Shezi was the classic guy, was the charismatic guy. He usually had, suits with him, and the way he would speak, I was like, good. I think maybe I can try to follow that route. So I think I liked that the most with him. And at a certain point of my career as a Forex trader, I think I also learned a lot from him, not like on a one-on-one level, but just from whatever material would see on social media. That might not be a course, but just the way he would carry out himself.
Sure. And then you took it upon yourself to learn on your own, right? So I'm assuming that you went to Google and Googled, what Forex trading is. You got a whole bunch of material. Now, in that process, was there a time where, because there's so much information on the internet, Ash, right? So one might be overwhelmed, not know where to start, right?
Agreed.
Were you in that situation where you see this bunch of information, don't know where to start? Was like a point where you were overwhelmed, you don't know what to do?
100%. And I think that's might be one of the reasons why I took 2 years to become profitable. So one of my big in trading is the fact that I did not have a mentor to help me through the process.
Yeah.
Because you see, by then there would be mentors, but I was like, why should I pay these guys? Let me just do it myself. But you see, wisdom requires that you do not reinvent the wheel, because the wheel has already been invented. So because it took me 2 years, and can you imagine, I had about 30 GB worth of Forex information, and yet I was not profitable. Those 30 GB downloads from YouTube,
Sure.
Google, YouTube, and
it's gigabytes. It's gigabytes, guys. Am I right? For the guys that for the GB.
Yeah, 30 GB, 30 gigabytes. So
30 gigs, a folder.
30 gigabytes of Forex material.
Yeah.
Yet I was not profitable. So all these things, as that you see, anybody can post anything on YouTube for the sake of views. And not only that, the real Forex trading ought to be taught systematically from A to B to C up to Z. So sometimes what people do is that they will teach you something as a beginner and you have not understood certain parts. Let's say, for example, somebody would want to teach supply and demand. Supply and demand, but once you do not know maybe the basics of market structure, you do not know the basics of candlestick reading, supply and demand will become complicated. So you just see somebody telling you about supply and demand. Well, it's in actual sense, you do not have the basics yet, and yet they will never tell you that. And not only that, some strategies might not be working, and they just put it like that. Maybe what people might do is they will just make 10 trades, and 9 trades they fail, and on the trade where they succeed, they make a course on that, and they put it out there. And for the sake of views, that's what is there. So when you take it like that and you try it, it doesn't go. So I knew all the indicators in the book. I knew all the strategies and all this, yet I was not profitable because, a lot of information out there might overload you, and sometimes it does automatically.
Yeah, 100%. I fully agree with that, Ash. You mentioned that you would read and understand like an indicator. I mean, you have your Bollinger Band, your stochastics. You would know those things. Your MACD.
Function, everything.
Yeah, everything. But now the application is where now it tends to be tricky, because like you said, you need now someone, to take you through and to show you how it's done. I relate to what he's saying, actually.
100%, man. And it's nice to see that in another country, there's similar kind of commonalities that we have in place, and we're standing on common ground. The unfortunate part is that there's people that never get to hear this information. They just go through the loops of getting new mentors, getting new this, getting new that, paying crazy amounts of money. At the end, I mean, I remember when I just started up to now. Close to a decade now, but with the first 3 years, that's when I spent the most money on courses. I spent, in my second year, I think, it was 25,000 Rand for a 3-day course.
3-day course?
25,000 Rand for a 3-day course.
Yeah.
So now 25,000 Rand later, there's so much stuff in that course now, right? 86 years later, then I'm like, yes, man, I'm not even using those things. And it cost me, and sometimes it's not money that costs you. Sometimes it's your time that costs you. And it's just like you said, you had 30 gigs worth of information, but you're not profitable. Tell me this, Serge, you have one picture there on your wall, literally one picture. So that is, there must be some sentimental value there. Obviously, I saw a ring on your finger. You married? Engaged?
100%, yeah.
All right. Ladies, he is taken.
2019, I really made money. I think that was around the time I got to know my then girlfriend, who is now my wife. So by the time she was done with school, Forex was already paying well. So I was like, why should I wait?
Sure.
Already had the
Nice.
you are done with, let's get you. And we really had an amazing wedding. At all the cost, at least by God's grace, this, Forex managed to cater it, besides also family coming in. So it was indeed an amazing thing. So I'm married. I got married in 2021 in November. And yes, we have one baby girl.
One baby girl. Tell me a little bit about, just quickly, you're a Forex trader, you're making some good money. What is it? Maybe there are other guys out there, all right, that has a girlfriend that, because I mean, this is all psychological, right? You are making money, you need a proper support system, because people think it's just about making the money, but you need someone that understands your ways. They know you're going to be up at certain hours. You're going to have to be teaching for X amount of hours per week. You won't always be there for evening dinner. What's that like there? Does a Forex trader, does a trader need that kind of support? And I'm going to say in this specific case now, because we are gents here, do we need that kind of a female support? And if we switch the tables, if you're a female trader, the man should also understand that I don't have an ordinary wife. I don't have an ordinary girlfriend. She's not the same. She has different types of hours. Is that important for a trader?
I personally believe that indeed it is very important. However, you need to know who is the person that is by your side. You see, as a Forex trader, when you are starting, you don't need to have a girlfriend or a partner that is very demanding, because in the beginning, it's always rough. You see, in the financial market, there are moments where accounts are blown and you do not have any backup. You see, so if you have a partner that is not very demanding and that is understanding, you can be able to thrive, so that when you're having a difficult day, you can go to her and she can give you that emotional support. However, if you're having a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a man or a girl or a woman that is very demanding, I personally believe that it might ruin your career, because in the beginning, you need to reinvest any small amount of money. You need to see how you can build up from there. But if you have somebody that we can say go digger, that would want to just get and get and get, it is going to be complicated. Of course, as a man, you need to be responsible. You need to be able to know how to cater for basic needs. But if it goes beyond basic needs, then you're having a liability instead of an asset.
That's a very important point.
Yeah, that's a very one. Yeah, I hope the guys heard that.
They heard that, because we always talk about the money, the strategies, the information, but what we just spoke about, there's not really much to talk about. That's proper stuff.
Yeah. So now you are in this journey of learning now, right? So the moment that it finally clicked, right? When was that? Where were you? And how did you feel? Yeah. How did it happen?
Yeah.
Like, talk us through that, the moment that it clicked. Because you said you took 2 years to learn, right?
Which is, man, that's quick.
Yeah, 100%.
That's quick. So
and also on your own as well, right? Yeah. So the moment everything finally clicked, where were you? How did it feel? What happened? Just take us through that.
Yeah.
So as a Forex trader, one thing that you need to know, one thing that every Forex trader needs to know is that they need to be okay with making mistakes. You see, mistakes allow you to learn a lot about yourself, especially when you are starting. I would encourage everyone to be open to every market. You see, sometimes there are other people that say, no, get one pair, be master at it. You can be a master at the wrong thing. You see, instance, everyone is a genius, but you can't measure the intelligence of a fish by his ability to climb a tree. You see, so the thing that is there is that sometimes people are good, but you might be good in trading gold, or you might be Nasdaq. But how do you know that if you do not try Nasdaq? So sometimes you might be on gold and it fails, and you go back to Euro USD and it works. Once it works, then try to stay there. Like, for example, on my side, I was trading currencies and everything, but there was a moment when there was this inclusion of a certain synthetic index that was called boom and crash. So by the time I done that synthetic index that was called boom and crash, so that's when I began to thrive. Then from there onwards, that's when I came now to understand certain things that would also happen in the currency market. So that's how I came back in NASDAQ, gold, and currencies. But it was not working then. So you see, it clicked by the time I discovered what works for me. So with many traders, ought to try everything and discover what works for them. And once they discover what works for them, they should stick there, because you don't change the winning team. So it happened there. I made money. I was consistent in making money. And you see, I started small. I would tell myself, let me have maybe just $50 a day. And once I started getting consistently $50 a day, I say, okay, let me go to 100. Let me go to 200. And it was around that time that I started now getting 4 digits payout, you see. So by then I realized that, okay, this thing is working. Of course, there was still improvement that ought to be made, but at least I was consistent. And it's at that time that I became profitable. So if I have to say it in a nutshell, you just need, as a trader, to try everything and realize what really works for you. And once you find it, you stick to that. But if you start by sticking to one, who knows, you are failing because that's not meant for you.
Just basically finding your truth, you know, in that, you know, I like to call the markets the war, the jungle. You know, when you go to the markets, it's the war, it's the jungle. But it's just about finding your truth. And once you find it, that's when now it will start making sense. Those things will start, making sense now. Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah. Do you have something to add there?
I think this is one thing that I can say. And also on the other note, people also have to be consistent with a strategy, you see, because even if we say thing, then find what works for you, but there are other moments where you need to also be consistent with one strategy and see indeed is consistent enough. Because you see, the problem that we're having right now is that somebody will get a strategy today, and after trying it for 2 days, it doesn't work, is now onto the next strategy. And it tries it for week, is onto the next one. Well, things are not supposed to be like that. Who knows if the market is favorable for that week, and maybe next week the market can be favorable. So sometimes we're having these issues. People are running after strategy without having first to stick with one and having to assess it for a month, for 2 months, and see how it goes. You see, the funny thing in Forex trading is that we have had people be consistently profitable with strategies that we are even amazed at. You see, we now have the rise of ICT. We now have the rise of smart money concepts, the things that we did not have, you know, in the past. But you see, and the ICT guys, the smart money concept guys, they would be there analyzing the charts very well, and the majority of them might not even be profitable. And yet you might see somebody profitable by simply using support and resistance. You will see somebody profitable by simply using a moving average. Then you came to realize that it is not always about strategy, but have you stuck enough to be able to understand, to be able to add money management, to be able to add certain things that resonate with your personality in order for you to succeed.
You mentioned that you have around 2,000 students that you've systematically trained, right? Can you maybe just speak to that a little bit? Like, what's the majority, when I say majority, maybe percentage-wise, the type of beginner that you get? Is it a beginner that just wants to make money? Is it someone that wants to learn? Obviously, we've encountered our own, you know, on this side in South Africa, and different countries as well. But for you that's on the ground there in Zambia, all right, you're more actively engaged. And I mean, 2,000 people is not games, you know? So what's the percentage and what's the attitude like of beginners that come into it for the very first time, according to your experience?
All right. So I can say maybe 75%, 70 to 75% are beginners, maybe that they've just heard about Forex and, they do not really, have much information about Forex or even use MetaTrader. But there is also another type that has already used MetaTrader, and they are just not profitable. And you see, there are different types. Even for those people that have already used MetaTrader, there are different schools. You see, the school, I can say that there are two schools of Forex trading. We can say the African school and the USA type of school. The African type of school is the account flipping school. So we had the big guys in SA that I just mentioned. So they taught us how to flip account, how to double account, how to triple account. And it is only normal because we do not have access to big capitals. Many people that are doing Forex are coming out of poverty. They are trying to see if they can take that 200 rands or 500 rands and multiply it until they become financially independent. But we have that Western school. That Western school also has their ways of trading. So, like for example, the account flipping type of school is the risk it all type of school. So you have to risk it, or if you don't manage, that's the way it's supposed to be. But that Western, they will tell you, no, don't risk more than 1% on every trade. Those guys have the money, but people here do not have the money. If you say making 1% of 200 rands on a monthly, you see, but there on their sides, they have access to credit cards, they have access to, basic salaries and all that, so they can afford that. So when they come to me, I tend first to see which school they are coming from. And mind you, a risk management for every type of school. Like, for example, for people that risk it all, what I do, like, for example, as a way of risk management is that I teach them to always keep their money in the wallet as they are also trading. So if they double, they should keep at least some money in the wallet so that should there be anything on their trading account, they at least have a plan B, you see. But for the other ones, we encourage them to trade in a certain way so that at least they can at least stay with that conservative type of risk management. So these are the types of people that we get. Yeah, that's what I...
That's so, that's extremely interesting. And I think it's things that we've also mentioned before to the guys that risk management is really subjective to the person. It's not everybody has the same risk appetite.
Yeah.
I mean, would you pet a lion if it was tamed? Would you go near it like a full-grown lion? What do you think? Do you think you would? Would you go near it and pet it? If the owner of the lion was sitting there and he said, T-Boss, it's fine, come and pet the lion. Would you?
It's not on a leash.
It's not nothing. It's just laying there. Would you?
I don't think I would.
And you, Serge, what would you do? Would you pet the lion if it's a full-grown male lion and the owner's there and he says to you, Serge, it's okay, just come. It's not on a leash. Just come and pet the lion. Come and take a picture next to the lion. Would you do that?
No. So it's very dangerous. Dangerous territories there.
All right. And then secondly, would you jump out of a plane skydiving?
Jump out of a plane skydiving? No.
Would you, Serge?
Without any protection, you can't. In fact, even with protection, I would doubt.
If you're with someone, so if someone harnesses, like they because if you haven't jumped before, someone is actually harnessed to you, right? So they pulling the parachutes and all that. You just getting the experience. Yeah. Would you take that risk?
I mean, if yeah, sure, I think I would.
You see?
Yeah.
So now check and you, Serge, would you then take that risk if someone is harnessed to you? That has experience. That has experience, by the way, over 2,000 jumps in their career. Would you take that?
Because I know I'm safe, but if I'm not safe, I don't think I would take that opportunity.
So you see, there's two scenarios.
Yeah.
One, the owner's right there, and he says to you, it's okay, come take the picture with the line. Look at your risk appetite. You're willing to jump 15,000 feet out of a plane, harnessed to someone. Look at that, bro.
Yeah, I get you.
So the risk,
get you.
It's so subjective. And I like what you're saying. Depending where the person comes from, you have to accommodate that and assist them. And if they're willing to move over to a new frame of thinking where it's, listen, let me gather capital. Let me not be the flipping kind of a thought school or coming from, let me shift over to the more westernized kind of a view where I only risk 2%. But then they must have some other, revenue streams that they can obviously fund and so forth, like you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah. And also just to add on that, you see now both those schools, there's going to have, like different thrills and feelings and adrenaline. Whereas if you flip an account, you get instant gratification. You have this feeling in you, you're confident. And then if you at the school where they say risk management, this is a business. When you take losses, just expose just a little percent of your account. Now with that one, you get a certain feeling that you understand that this is a business, right? What I'm trying to say is on both these calls, I'm not saying they're both wrong or right, but now if you check, we are different, as human beings. I might not be someone who wants instant gratification, even though we all want it, right? I might be someone who is, when I'm doing this thing, I want to feel it. I want to go through trust and tribulations for me to understand the overall business. Whereas if you flip an account, it's just you just enter, maybe go in full margin, flip, boom. You feel good about yourself, right? But then what happens if then you lose that trade? So everything is gone now. Right. So so there's gonna be different feelings.
So you want to go through the process
and understand the business as a whole. To say, there are losses. If we do take a loss here, we understand that we should expose a small percentage of the account, but with the reward, we should try to gain at least 3%, at least just to make an example.
Gotcha.
You might find those people that are comfortable with that, and then people that, are comfortable with just, let's go in, flip, boom, flip, boom, flip, boom. There are those people there. So when you deal with those people, as you said, you do understand both of them, right? Now in your sessions, do both these guys are in one session, or are there any different sessions there for them?
All right. So what I always want to do is to train perfect traders. That's the reason why previously I told you that I would want somebody to try out everything. Like, for example, I trade multiple assets. And even as they're having a general asset, and they can be able to choose on their own in accordance to how, they've adapted to a specific asset. But if they've not tried another asset, how do they know that they are going to be profitable in that asset? Sometimes all of them, and people can choose according to their personality. You see, trading has got more to do also with people's personality. You see, sometimes
that's true.
Help us, maybe not because they are looking for money and all that. Some people is because they are not patient. They don't have the patience of seeing the markets go up and down. And you see somebody will be okay with being a swing trader, you see. So the personality of a person and also the condition of a person also depends. Like, for example, if I'm training a person who is working, I would encourage them to be a day trader or a swing trader. If I'm encouraging somebody like a student, I would encourage them I would teach them scalping, I would teach them day trading, and I would teach them swing trading. However, I would encourage them to be scalpers so that in moments of pause or that moment where they are relaxing or in the moments where they are not studying, they can be able to trade the markets in and out a bit fast. And if indeed they're having their studies and their exams or anything, it's better they become swing traders rather than day traders, so that at least that profit and loss factor is taken out of them, saying, I'm losing big, I'm winning big. You should come out. Because imagine somebody is in an exam room and he's already put a trade as a scalper. He will fail to study, or he's put some trade as a day trader, you see. So it all depends on that. And I would tend to see the personality of the person and would ask them to marry the type of trades, that would match their personality. And when it comes to people that do account flipping, they also have their advantages and they also have their disadvantages. Like, for example, we've talked about the disadvantage of when the account is blown, it's over. But you see, that's when money management comes in. You can say, look, even if you have your 1,000 rands, why not put 500 rands and try to go in full margin as you'd like, so that when it doesn't go according to your expectations, you can put that second 500 rands into your trading account and give it a try. Who knows, over the second time it may work. And once it doubles or once it triples, take the money away and put it back again in your wallet. But you know what people do? They will not listen to that. They'll take that same 1,000 rands and put it all there because they want it fast and they want it quick. So that's the problem that we have. But the advantage with that one is that once you do not have a lot of money. It can indeed change your life, because I've seen account flippings that have really changed drastically my life, and that has also changed drastically the lives of people that did not have much. All of a sudden, they're having a lifestyle that they could only think of. You see, because you see, we're in Africa and we do not have the advantages that those Westerners do have. But you see, also the other side of risking only 2% of your capital has got its own disadvantages, because it takes time and you need to be very, very patient. You need the patience of a farmer for you to be able to grow from somewhere. However, the advantage is that it gives you a sense of business and a sense of, because the more you have times to try, the more you're able to learn. Can you imagine somebody who blows his account there and then? He doesn't have the chance to try again unless he does it on a demo, and many people don't like getting back on demo. But a person who puts in 2% of his capital and tries and fails, he will understand better and will try again and see, let me have at least what can work. And you see, when you have a winning strategy, over a period of trades, you'll be profitable, even if you have losses. You see, those are advantages and the advantages. So it all depends on a person's personality, and you can't force that on a person. So you can't create a patient man or an impatient person. You can't create a swing trader or a scalper. You just help them discover who they really are and go on the table.
How do you integrate? Here's another school of guys that I've also come to realize is the Eastern side more, where they're more algorithm based. More robots, EAs, expert advisors. You'll find it happens a lot in the East. How do you integrate those guys as well? Because they don't understand, or let me not say it like that. They are more interested in what can this algorithm do for me that I don't need to do myself. And then they find out that EA didn't work. They jump onto the next EA, next EA, next EA, and they just never find that 100% accurate EA. How do you integrate those guys? Because that's a third school of students.
Indeed. So we have those type of people, and we also teach people about robots. And you see, there are various schools of robots. We have the people that like martingale-based EAs. And, martingales are the ones that when you're in a loss, it enters a trade in the same direction, but with a bigger lot size, so that when there's a reversal, it can close in profit. So those are the types of people that are there. There are people that do trade, that do have EAs that have greed, where trades keep hacking as it's going in their direction. And we also have the people that are doing hedging. We also have people that are also doing high frequency trading. And in high frequency trading, there's the normal high frequency, and we also have the arbitrage type of it. And in the arbitrage, there are also many types of arbitrage that are there: one leg, reverse arbitrage, and all these other types. So what we teach them also is, number one, to be able to know their risk appetite. You see, so when you're a person who is doing, like for example, martingale, you would need to know if you are okay with seeing losses for a certain period of time. You see, and if you're okay with that, then you can go with it. And also, number two, you also need to know which time where the market does not have high volatility, so that you can trade effectively, because the killer of martingale is a trend. Because once there is a trend, martingale dies, because it keeps going in the direction, and the opposite trades are just entering. And if there is no reverse, martingale guy is gone.
In trouble.
You see, so things. The other thing also with the people that do hedging is the patience that is needed, because a lot of hedging needs a lot of patience. And also we have the people that are doing high frequency. The people that are doing high frequency, their enemy is the broker, because many brokers do not allow such type of trading unless they have, that straight through processing type of broker or anything. But the majority of brokers do not allow that. Do not allow. So if you want to be the enemy of brokers, start arbitrage and high frequency trading. So you need to know yourself, what is this that you need to do? So what is your risk appetite, where you are going? And also being able to at the end, try to see how you can develop yourself. So you see, the advantage of a robot is that it detaches the emotions out of you, which is a great thing, because if you're able to trade without emotions, you are going to have an edge. Many people have opportunities, but they don't enter because the emotions is telling them, look, you might fail. And when they do not enter, they see it goes in their favor. So these are some of the advantages of people that have EAs. Mm-hmm. So that's what
I've actually experienced, like, you know, over the years, like many traders that use EAs, but they don't understand basic market structure. So, you know, they really don't. They just basically taking the specs of that EA or that robot, whichever we're going to title it, right? And they say, based on what I've bought or what I've heard or what I've spec'd, this is a 90% accuracy indicator robot and so forth. And
to add, many people think that when it's all about EAs, it always has to be fully automated.
Yeah.
You see, the problem is not a must that every EA should be hands-free. You can have an EA and still see how you can use it over a certain period of time. Just as I told you, the enemy of market, the trend that is following. You see, once the trend keeps going in the opposite direction, you die. So people would rather trade in a session that is ranging, hence market structure. You see, so when to understand that, I personally believe that it is going to be an advantage. And not only that, people ought to be very calculative when it comes to EAs. You know, we have been inspired a lot with the South African market. And, you know, I told you how Sandile Shezi inspired me, how Ref Wen was already doing great. But right now, the problem that we're having right now is that many people are just coming up with EAs that do not work. And people need to have their due diligence in getting to know which one works, which one does not work, and how they can verify, because people just fall blindly into that because the market of EAs has now emerged and many EAs not working.
Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah, look, you can even get some for free on Google.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, we touched on risk management there, right? And this is something that is really important in this business we do in risk management. You know, this is apart from flipping accounts and all of that. But now, when it comes to risk management, we've all been in a situation where, you know, we've blown our capital, right? In your experience, right, in your trading journey, has there been a point where you have blown an account and it really, 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 you know, obviously we can be sad about it and all of that, but how did you then recover from, well, number one, have you blown an account, number one? And if yes, and if that's a yes, how did you recover? How did you manage to recover psychologically and emotionally from that?
Yes, I've blown accounts many times.
Sure.
However, as I became profitable, I at least not to have such instances again. Because you see, when you blow an account, you need first to ask yourself why I did blow the account. And the emotions blur that type of question. Many people that blow their account, what they do, they even stop trading. They even regret. Some people do whatever they want to do. Other people go drinking, and other people go on the internet and say how Forex is a scam and all that. However, what I do is when it happens, I get to see why I failed. You see? And after I get to see why I failed, I get to see how I can become better. And after I get to see how I can become better, I do the best I can, especially I'm talking about the time before I could have access to bigger capital so that I can get back in the market the following day. You know, I'm talking about the moment where once I lose money, it might take maybe 3 weeks later for me to be able to find money to fund my account. So I would get to know why I failed. What is the mistake that I made? And as I'm waiting for the money to arrive, I am still analyzing the market. You know, because you need to keep being in that mood of trading. The more you are close to certain things, the more you familiarize yourself with that thing. Like, for example, people that are in the zoo. Recently, we went to see lions. There are some lions that are, you know, being domesticated. People that are keeping them are used to them because they have also spent enough time with them. So sometimes also for you to be effective in the market, you need to be frequently looking at the chart. And that's the thing that many people that blow their accounts don't do. They just throw their MetaTrader away, wait for money to come, then restart 3 weeks later afresh. They are not cuts. They are starting afresh instead of starting from experience. And you can only start from experience if you learned why you failed. You see? So when I do that also, I also do the best I can to gratify myself. Maybe I go to a nice place, I eat, or I have a partner. I just spend some good moments because it's part of the game. But right now, I'm having less and less moments like that because being consistently profitable means having more profits than losses.
Yeah, sure. And on that note, do you believe that journaling is important?
100%. Yes. In fact, so when you learn why it happened, you need to write it down so that, because you see, if you do not learn from your past, they say he who does not learn from history, he's doomed to repeat it. So if you learn from history, you need also to document it. And you don't just document, you also document your profits. I know it's a difficult thing for a trader. You see, there was a moment where I was indeed talking about journaling, but my own journaling was a bit difficult to do. But I came to realize that it's a must. So right now, if I open my notebook, you are going to see a lot of trades of why I succeeded and why I didn't succeed. And there are also some screenshots that are attached to notes. Sometimes I would screenshot and write on those screenshots, this is what I saw, this is what I analyzed, and these are the advantages and everything. So journaling is very important. So the normal journaling should not just be that of writing on a book, but you can also find how it suits you. You can screenshot and make sure that you write that screenshot as to what you saw, that the reason why you took that trade, and also your emotional stance at that time. It is also very important. And also when you lose, you can also take a screenshot, write something on that, so that as to see if writing is not okay with you, you can still do that so that at least you keep a clear record. Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of this, Ash, and we did a podcast episode where we spoke about exactly the same thing.
You're reading my mind right there.
Yeah, where we spoke about the importance of taking screenshots in your journaling process, right? Because not only like you're gonna write down your emotions, your feelings, and why the reason you take this trade, but you can also see the setup, right, before and after. So I'm a big advocate of that, actually.
There seems to be a common thread here about people that are profitable and how they do things.
Sure.
And if beginners start to listen and fragment and create silos, little rooms, and say, okay, so all the profitable people that I'm speaking to, they speaking about the same thing regarding, example, support and resistance. They're all saying the same thing. Journaling, they're all saying the same thing. How to use this, they're all saying. So if you can start to piece that together and thread it through, you'll see there's an algorithm there,
of course,
for profitability.
Yeah.
And many guys are not really reading into that specific thing, which I've actually noticed.
And kind of like a blueprint.
It's a blueprint. Yeah.
When it comes to a strategy, we know that you need to get to a point where you know the numbers of your strategy, to say, okay, this particular strategy is 60% success rate and all of that. The most effective way you can find that out is through, apart from back testing, exactly that, taking screenshots, and then have a good sample for you to go back and check, right, how your strategy has been performing, because we need to also understand how it performs on different market conditions.
Exactly.
All right. Not only for the first month and you say, it's working. It might not be the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
100%.
So Serge, on your side, just moving a little bit forward, right? So where to from here? Let's look future. All right. Where to from here for you now?
All right. The first thing that I would want to do is to make sure that I keep up with a noble work. And for me, what can be noble is to allow many people to be financially independent through Forex trading. I know it is not for everyone. I know it is not going to be easy, but at least it's worth the try, because how can you not know if it's not for you if you have not tried? So that's the reason why what I do is that I do the best I can to give free beginners lessons, so that people free of charge can be able to enter in the financial markets, know what is Forex trading, know what is the financial market, and even know how to use MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 with some strategies that can help them before they can go into the advanced. Because with the advanced, there is a lot of time and experience that I gained, and there's a fee attached to the advanced course. But with the beginner's course, I'm helping people understand, the financial markets and everything. And I'm very happy that indeed TD Markets is also on the same, plan, making sure that people also get not only to trade with them, but they also get to learn. And I'm happy with the noble work that we are doing. Number two, I would also want to make sure that people get to know that money is made from trading and not from, selling courses or robots. Of course, there can be another source of income, but if we let people think that that's the only way, you'll be having a lot of people that have not even learned how to trade starting to wanting to become mentors. And that's the problem that we have. So we need to restart that. We need to tell people that, look, there's a way that things ought to be. And besides that, we also need to serve as an example as mentors, because we know that other people will be coming as mentors. So we might have seen some other mentors do certain things in a way that is not, that might not be okay. And we really need to set an example. Let's say, for example, that many people that we looked up to, they got caught when some people would come to them with big investments, you see, and they will tell them, look, we are giving you 3 million rands. Can you manage to multiply it? And they're like, okay, good. And you know what? They don't put disclaimers on that, because they know that once there is a disclaimer, people are going to run away with their money. So from there, what do? You say that, okay, first, better start with your own capital. And if there is anybody that comes, be very suspicious. But if you have to accept, make sure that the paperwork is done so that should anything happen, you should not be liable for anything. So we've seen people that went ahead of us that made that mistake. They took a lot of money without disclaimer. And by the time people were after them, they would not know how to, to keep themselves, how to protect themselves. So setting an example as a Forex mentor is something that I'm also doing, because the people that have gone ahead of us, they really messed up a lot, not only in terms of account management, but also in terms of selling things that don't work. We are having a rise of robots. You see, when we started first with this strategy, trade NAS 100, trade US 30, then afterward there was fundamentals that started with the rise of DJ Coach. You see 1 minute strategy, reverse strategy, and all these types of things. And afterwards, we started getting now into the realm of indicators. After the indicators failed, we now started with the realm of strategies. There would be this strategy, South Africa strategy, Mandela strategy, it will pop up out of everywhere. But after a moment again, we are now at a time of robots where they realize that people don't want to trade. Now everybody is coming with robots, and the majority, I can say 99% of them are not working. And people are regretting, people are asking themselves, is it really that we're expecting from the financial market? So we are trying to clean this up and make sure that indeed we get back to real traders and traders that can give a good image to the financial market. So I think that's what I'm planning to do, and make it big, make it professional, and make it more trustworthy.
You mentioned something interesting that I maybe just want to just touch on quickly, right?
Yeah.
The point of the mistakes that the people before have made. I find that we tend to inflate all the accolades, all the achievements, all of the money, all of the cars, all of the houses, the watches, all of those things, those material things. And we don't really talk about the mistakes. Literally, we don't point them out because for whatever reason, it's taboo. Sure. Oh no, you're hating. You are breaking down, people, if you do mention mistakes. And mistakes is a good thing, depending on your perception, right? Yeah. If I make a mistake, it's like, okay, at least I tried. Therefore, I made a mistake, which means it brings me closer to succeeding. Sure. You see that? But if you point out a mistake in society, in specificity, what we're dealing with, you're seen as a hater. Maybe just one or two things that we can point out, maybe say, okay, this was a mistake. Let me start with one, right? Perhaps putting too much emphasis on what money can buy instead of how money can assist your well-being and your family. I think there was a lot of focus put on what it can buy, which is the houses and the cars, which is ticked off. We understand that. But the emphasis was really placed on it.
Yeah, I think, and there's the, like, I don't want to say a sad reality of it, but now it can change people's minds to think that I can do this in a month.
Exactly, brother.
I can achieve this in a month. Exactly. And of which people that have achieved that, they've taken a lot of months to get there, right?
Exactly.
That's the sad reality of how it's advertised in this day and age right now. So I fully agree with that.
So the advertising of how I've just mentioned, I think it was a mistake, but I don't keep it against the guys because they were also just coming into it new.
Sure.
They were coming into it. They're like, this is what can help. This is the business model. Let's use it. Let's make money. 100%. But looking back now, it did shape the wrong kind of thinking.
Yeah, and also if I can just play a devil's advocate here, gentlemen, right? So let's say I've been seeing this people you spoke about, of course they are showcasing, right? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I want to try this, right? Of course, I do understand there's going to be trials, tribulations about this, on this, but the moment I buy my first car, I also want to show it.
That's nobody, you're right.
I also want to show it,
Yeah.
And I don't fault those people. And that's what you said right now. We cannot fault those people, right? Because they were at some point beginners wishing to be in that position.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
So there's no hate. It's just a reality.
Yeah.
Maybe the people that received it, they received it in that way, but maybe the intention, and I mean, there we can play devil's advocate again and say, was it intentionally marketed that way to exploit? Or was it just, hey man, I'm coming out of nothing. I've made it.
Yeah.
I'm buying my car and I'm showing my success.
All right.
You can't fault someone that, so there's really that dynamic.
The problem that is, you see, it was very important for them to do that, and it is still important for us to do that. However,
My man.
lacked, you see. So sometimes we tell people that this is what is going to happen, but we do not tell them, like, look, there are going to be difficult times. There are going to be days where it is not going to work as expected, you see. So, and you see, the reason why some people could not show us their losses when they were telling us about Forex, number one is because they did not, they saw it as a good strategy. But number two, they were also afraid because, you see, people did not take it, they did not take a loss very well. For them, once you're not a real trader. That's the reason why we are coming with concepts of 100% strategy, because once you do not show that you are succeeding, once you just show your failure, you are not a real trader.
You're not a real trader.
Is that he's got a 100% strategy in the search of what we call, quote unquote, holy grail. You see, so because people are also scared that my people are going to leave me once they know that I have made a loss, even if it's simply one loss out of 10 profits. So it's with people are getting to understand that, look, you can make a lot of money with having losses too. Everything has got more to do with risk management. Let's say, for example, do you know that with a strategy of 50%, you can be profitable if your risk reward ratio is 1 to 2? You see, in fact, if your risk reward ratio is 1 to 3, with 40% win strategy, you can be still profitable.
True.
Some of the things that many people did not talk about. It is at the end, I started telling people, like, look, profitability does not mean there is no loss. It simply means that there are more losses than profits. You see, and in the past, in fact, do you know that even with me right now, once I do not post on my social media handles, people think that I've lost money. Can you imagine? So for us, we just need to be on the rampant all the time. But I say that sometimes the days I don't post are the days I even make the most money. And the times I post more, at the times maybe I've just broken even. You see? So the reason why they did not maybe show that is because they were maybe scared that people would not believe in them. That's the reason why they would say 95% strategy, 90% strategy, and yet it was not. And that's the reason why they would portray cars without having to show them that, look, this is a losing day. It happens. It so that people are not going to take it well. they'll run away and think that you are not a profitable trader.
Do you have one mistake?
Yeah, on that point, just before we get to on that point, I think it goes back to what I said earlier on, that someone might be comfortable in understanding the business, hence they might go to the Western side of that, Western school side of things, because now they'll be able to really understand that, hey, look, you don't need to stress yourself in looking for like a 80% success rate. You can even get a 40%, but you need to know risk and reward ratio is important in that. That's very, very, very important there. I fully agree with the mistake that you pointed out there, and that's something that we see day in and day out, especially in SA, no disrespect, not hating it, especially in like in SA. When you're first exposed to trading, you said you saw suits, you saw cars, but you saw kind of like what we can say the professional side of that. You are not really exposed to what you like to say, chrome cars and all of those things.
Yeah, the rep Aston Martins.
Yeah, and I think that's what I also saw. I saw exactly what you saw, my man. This particular individual portraying or advertising it, so to say, in a more professional manner. That's why I wanted to know the business as a whole, instead of me getting into that adrenaline of, and not disrespect to those people, flipping, all good there. But 100%, that's basically how it is, yeah.
And yourself, Serge, any mistake there that you maybe feel that guys, that's actually watching can look at and say, listen, this was a mistake, but trading has evolved now. There's more information that has now come into the forefront, and they can now utilize it and say, I'm not going to make the same mistake that the forefathers made, as an example now.
So I think the main mistake that I still regret to date, and I think I can still share it with others, is what I think I said earlier, is that of letting people think that they can just make it on their own. You see, you need mentor is very important. Sometimes, when people want to bring an ideology, they would want to go to the extremes. See, like, for example, the people that would want to tell them, like, look, you need to be very careful with these people that sell false courses. They will tell you, you don't need any mentor. See, but there is no, do you know the reason why there is never a fake $75 bill? It is because a real $75 bill does not exist. There is only a fake $100 bill because a real $100 bill exists. So even if there are some courses that might not be real, there are some good courses and there are some good mentors. Now it's up to you to realize and find who is the real mentor. So I think the mistake that I made, that I believe even took me 2 years, is that of trying to say, these guys are just after our money. These guys, they are also figure things out myself. And I have a friend, a very close friend of mine. He started trading in June 2019. And by November 2019, he was already profitable. Why? Because he was after mentor and after mentor after mentor. And you see, by the time he became profitable, that friend of mine, as a matter of fact, I was offering a course then, he was profitable, and yet he bought my course. And after I went through that, I asked him, how is it? He said, by that time, we're not friends. We're just getting to know each other. And he just said that from all your course, I already knew 60%. It's only the 40% that I'm adding. So imagine that friend of mine was becoming profitable in 5 months, and yet it took me 2 years. Why? Because I wanted to reinvent the wheel, while it's already invented, and my friends wanted just to be on people's feathers and use them to even fly higher.
Very interesting, eh?
Very interesting.
We'd have to get a round table at some point and discuss what are real mentors.
I agree.
How do you identify a real mentor?
Yeah.
That would be an interesting discussion, and get some more people and make the circle bigger.
100%.
So I don't know, man. I have one more left for myself. I just want to quickly ask Serge, what in your view, all right, at this point, is a successful trader? What constitutes to you being, what does it entail to be a success? How do you judge whether you're a successful trader? Is it profits? Is it a following? What is a successful Forex trader to you?
Okay. For me, a successful trader is a disciplined trader. Okay, we're having many traders that are not disciplined, and we are having traders that do make. You see, making money in Forex is not difficult. Being consistent at making money is. See, so we have so many people, sometimes they would make money and they show it on social media, but when they have their losses, they don't show it. See, so a successful trader is one that is disciplined. And once you are disciplined, you become consistent in being successful. So a successful trader is not the one who never makes losses, but it is the one that sticks to his strategy and makes more profits than losses. Because once you're a disciplined trader, you get to understand psychology very well. Once you're a disciplined trader, you get to understand risk management very well. And once you're a disciplined trader, you know how to stick to your plans. You see, so that's a successful trader. And also besides that, a successful trader is he who also knows how to diversify when the money comes. You see, because trading is one of the industries that even if you are a consistent trader, there is still a certain level of uncertainty. You see, so what is the way of diversifying as a trader? I did a bit of business, so I can enter in there. In business, there's what we call direct diversification and indirect diversification. So direct diversification happens when you are diversifying in your line of business. So which means as a trader, if you do direct diversification, what do? You make sure that you have different types of accounts. You just don't have one account. When you have different types of accounts where you trade differently, it might be swing trading here, scalping here. It's also diversifying. When you say here I trade this pair and there I trade that pair, it's also diversifying. When you say here I want to use a robot and here I want to do manual trading, it's also diversifying. But also the other way of diversifying, there can also be a way of sharing your knowledge to others. Because let's not lie about it. In mentorship, there is also money when you do it right. And there is peace when you do it right. You teach people the right thing that works. So money can also come from mentorship. It should not be used for just personal use, but it should be reinvested into your trading account or into something bigger that you are doing. So it's also one way of diversifying. And also besides that, make sure that if you are a profitable person and you have a certain level of influence, teach people and make sure that they register under you so that you can also be able to make money whenever they make money. You leave a legacy indeed, but whenever they make money in the future, you also make money. So these are one of the ways a person can directly diversify in the Forex business. But indirectly diversifying is making sure that whenever they make money, they also diversify into maybe properties. They maybe diversify into things that they do like. You know, I've seen many traders that are into properties right now. So I've also been inspired. That's the reason why after money was made, I made sure that after the buying of cars, after I bought one of my favorite, my dream cars, which is the Jaguar, I made sure that I also diversify in properties, in businesses where there is more stability. And you also diversify into what you like. If you have always wanted to have a restaurant, then you diversify there. So a successful Forex trader is a disciplined trader, which we know about. We said the mindset, discipline risk-reward ratio, discipline sticking to the strategy, and also being consistent, which means not just means losing, but making more profit than losses. Not meaning never losing, but making more wins than losses. And also, at last, a successful Forex trader is the one that knows how to diversify, both directly and indirectly.
So, brother, based on what Serge just said, do you see what I mean by profitable traders are speaking the same language expressed in a different way? We had Jaguar on our previous episode, and he said exactly the same thing. Sure. Consistency, number one. Serge put in discipline. Jag said consistency, number two. What are you building outside? So it's the same language. And if the guys can catch on to that, man, thank you, my brother.
Yeah. So, man, I think it was a good episode.
Absolutely.
Serge, my man, before it ended, you trade NFP, right? Or was it CPI that you guys?
It was NFP.
NFP.
Yeah, yeah.
Next week there's NFP.
Yeah,
Right?
next
week. You ready for it? 100%. All right. So yeah, I think that's where you're gonna end it, my man. Thank you so much. I think the guys watching this will definitely take some notes and will be inspired even more. You know, we understand that this journey can be difficult, but if they see someone who's been through that and they still in that business, I mean, I'd be inspired. You know, in the midst of the uncertainties of this business. But yeah, I think from my end, thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Absolutely.
Ash, anything you want to say? Any last words?
No, it's just a privilege, man. Thank you very much, Serge. All the best in Zambia.
Yeah.
You know, make sure you get it, you know, get those guys up and running, you know, as you are doing. And we wish you all the best, man.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. And thank you above all to TD Markets for creating such opportunities.
Yeah,
fantastic.
100%.
Absolute pleasure, brother.
Yeah. All right. Cool moment.
All right,
Cheers,
brother.
everyone.
Cheers.